Ahoy there, Craig from Pure Xbox signing in. Today we are reviewing Dead Island 2 on Xbox Series X. Now this review was written by the wonderfully talented Ben Kerry of PureXbox.com, which you should check them out straight after you finished with this video. Now you know what's up and our bags are packed, let's board that plane to LA City. Emerging from the flames of development hell is Dead Island 2, with this long-awaited sequel eventually being scrubbed up and brought to market by Dambuster Studios. Yes, we've been waiting a long time for this one to release, and while the Dying Light series has done a great job at plugging the gap since 2013's Dead Island Riptide, there's definitely still room for another open-world zombie romp on Xbox. Dead Island 2 quickly embraces its absurd concept by cutting the fat and just throwing you into Beverly Hills with little more than a laundry list of melee weapons, some physics-defying character abilities, and a diary full of quirky one-liners ready to be unleashed upon every other survivor you come across.
Zombie ass-kicking services at competitive prices.
While the team has done a good job at realizing a condensed version of the locale and some of its surrounding areas, the hordes of flesh-eating zombies just about set it apart from the real thing. While the area isn't really an island, it is a great backdrop for an open-world zombie game. And the sight of its sun-soaked villas, highways, and sandy beaches quickly become one of Dead Island 2's major wins. This isn't a massive modern-day open-world game though, far from it, with Dambuster opting for a more segmented design style. You often bounce between different sections of LA, starting out in the suburban region of Bel Air, before heading down to Santa Monica Beach, and even to the sets of a fictional Hollywood studio. Each section is a sight to behold, and the game is a real looker on Xbox Series X, which is where we spent roughly 15 to 20 hours of our time with Dead Island 2. Major reason for Dead Island 2 being as fun as it is relates to the combat mechanics. While the late game shooting isn't anything to write home about, the up close and personal melee combat is good old-fashioned brute force fun. And we loved messing around with the game's roster of melee weapons from start to finish. Dead Island 2's combat is grounded, visceral, connected, and combined with the team's flesh system, makes for a hell of an engaging way to tear zombies to shreds around Los Angeles. It may function much like past series entries and other melee-focused first-person action games, but Dead Island 2 just has that satisfying fighting feel that brings the whole experience together. The aforementioned flesh system, the fully locational evisceration system for humanoids as it's long-windedly termed, essentially lets you slice away at zombies bit by bit, with chunks of flesh and bone flying off as you swing and smack away at the undead. It has its actual uses, but above all, we just love the way this system looks in action. It makes the zombies feel real and fleshy and nasty, and it sort of reminds us of seeing those melting zombies in the Walking Dead TV show.
Looks like we got us a swimmer.
Zombies are pretty disgusting, aren't they? And Dead Island 2 certainly doesn't shy away from the gore that comes with taking down hordes of them as the main campaign progresses. As we've mentioned though, the flesh system does play into the game's core mechanics as well. If you mess around with the game's weapon mod system, which will likely use up all of the resources you've gathered, you can really start to go to town on these zombies. Add an acid mod to one of your weapons and see flesh melt from the bone. Add fire and you'll be cooking up plenty of zombie meat in no time. Both of these kind of mods add damage over time too, so the whole system is definitely worth messing around with to find the most efficient way of taking down your enemies. Just don't look too closely if you're a bit squeamish.
Hey, calm yourself. I'm here for Dr. Reed.
Oh, you are, huh? You're not here to eat us then?
I've neither the time nor the gravy.
Comedian, huh?
Dead Island 2's main story campaign is roughly 15 hours long, and in all honesty, we're glad it didn't run too much longer. There's nothing wrong with what Dambuster has cooked up for the game's main campaign, but it's a story that doesn't really go anywhere, and the whole thing largely serves as a way to direct you through each section of the segmented open world. Expect to help out groups of survivors, assist a doctor in finding a cure, and slowly figure out that you're somehow immune from this whole thing. You know, the usual zombie genre tropes.
We don't need him.
You know you do.
Ha! I'm immune!
Thankfully, the game's quips and funny one-liners make the whole thing feel pretty tongue-in-cheek anyway. We opted to play as Jacob and Danny for our main campaign run-throughs, and they genuinely made us laugh from time to time with their commentary on proceedings. We can't speak for how each and every character handles things, but Jacob made sure that Dead Island 2 never strayed towards taking itself very seriously, and we thought his tone matched the overall experience pretty well, as did Danny's more colorful choice of verbal gymnastics. Outside of the main story, Dead Island 2 hosts plenty of side quest content, and you know what? It's worth a look. From the handful of side quests we took part in, the quality matched that of the game's main story missions. So if you like what you're seeing from the campaign, it's probably worth venturing out to see what else the game throws your way. A particularly memorable side quest had us exploring multiple stages of a Hollywood movie set to help out a pair of survivors who had gotten a little overzealous with their post-apocalyptic exploring. Safety in numbers is an idea probably worth subscribing to. During our hands-on preview from last month, we mentioned being wary of how the game's segmented design could work against what Dead Island 2 excels at. And unfortunately, we felt that was the case for large parts of the experience.
At least this time his shoes are already ruined.
Look, we get open world fatigue. We've certainly felt it ourselves at times, but Dead Island 2 just feels like it would work better as a seamless open world. The game's actual setup doesn't ruin the experience, but we feel it discourages exploration and experimentation. And if any game would work well with just a big dumb open world playground to mess around in, it's this one. Such an open world could have encouraged even more engagement with side content and led to more traversal options too. Dead Island 2 drops vehicles of any kind from the last two Dead Island titles, and we kinda miss them, to be honest. Cruising around Santa Monica Beach on some quad bike or something like that, flattening zombies and yeeting others towards the sun could have really built on the absurd nature of Dead Island 2. Look, we were just desperate to see how monster trucks could have worked with the flesh system, alright? Fortunately, we can report that co-op play does help in nurturing some bonkers free roam shenanigans. We only dabbled with this mode a little bit during our hands-on time with the game, but we can already imagine where the community might take things when they hop into some online lobbies. A couple of us here at Pure Xbox HQ had our fair share of free roam fun as we double drop kicked some lads, flung infected creatures off top of high-spec villas, and even attempted to make our very own inflatable zombie pizzas. Again, a seamless open world with vehicles would have been lovely for co-op as well, but alas, our infected Inferno pizza did help add some spice to proceedings. Over the course of our time with Dead Island 2, we did run into a few bugs here and there, but nothing major outside of getting stuck in a wall once, although a generous save system prevented that from being too frustrating. Hilariously, character models would sink through the floor from time to time, particularly in cutscenes, which may pull you out of the experience if it happens to you.
Right. The CDC is gonna, hey, I told you to stay off that foot. You want me to cut it off? Come on.
But thankfully, Dead Island 2 is never a serious affair anyway, So the doctor's daughter being a crossbow is just quite hilarious, if I'm being honest.
They're more important than people starving?
Yeah, kind of. I can't really talk about it right now.
Since playing, the dev team has delivered a day one patch. So we're hopeful that these sort of things have been ironed out for launch. The fact that Dead Island 2 is here and is as fun to play as it's nothing short of a miracle given the game's 10+ years development cycle, we feared that this one may end up being a real mess. But Dambuster has largely delivered on what you'd expect from a sequel to Dead Island, just not much more than that. We'd have loved to see the team expand on things a little more to fully capitalize on the game's absurdity, but a safe sequel will do just fine in this case. Dead Island 2 won't blow you away, but it's shiny and dumb and fun, and definitely worth a play if you're looking for a lighthearted zombie romp on Xbox. There we have it, our review of Dead Island 2. Thank you so much for getting to this part of the video. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Are you going to be picking it up on day one? Be sure to head on over to purexbox.com for all of the ooze. That's reviews, previews, and latest news. And, you know, subscribe because you're silly, and it's a silly day today. As for now, I've been Craig, and I'm signing off. Cheerio!